Something feels wrong with reality. You may not say it out loud, but you felt it. In the silence of your room, in the empty spaces between your thoughts, in the strange moments when everything feels slightly off, as if the world is running on a script you were not meant to read. Maybe it was a glitch, a déjà vu so perfect it terrified you. Maybe it was a dream that felt more real than waking life. Maybe it was the quiet suspicion that your life is being observed. Not by people, but by something else. There is a thought most people avoid, because once it enters your mind, it never leaves. It haunts you. It follows you. It makes you question the very grounds beneath your feet. What if this world isn't the original? What if everything you know is just a layer inside another layer? What if you are living in a matrix inside another matrix? If you're new here, subscribe now, because what you're about to hear may not be easy to unhear. Let's start with something deeply unsettling. Your brain does not show you reality. It shows you a reconstruction, a controlled hallucination, a simulation created inside your skull. Everything you see, touch, hear, and remember is filtered, edited, and reassembled by your brain. You have never experienced the external world directly. You only experience your brain's version of it. So ask yourself, if your own mind can simulate your reality, what stops something else from simulating your mind? That question is a threshold. Cross it, and you begin to see the cracks in the world you thought was solid. Because once you understand how fragile your perception truly is, something terrifying becomes possible. If your senses can be fooled, if your memories can be shaped, if your reality can be edited from the inside, then you must consider the unthinkable. What if you were placed inside a simulation so perfect, so seamless, so absolute, that you would never question it unless something went wrong? Something like déjà vu. Something like a glitch. Something like the quiet feeling that your life is not entirely yours. And this is where the descent truly begins. The idea that we might be living in a simulation is already disturbing enough. But what happens when the simulation itself is simulated by another, and that one by another, and another after that? A chain of realities, nested, stacked. Each one believing it is the real one, each one unable to see the levels above. A matrix inside a matrix inside a matrix. But to understand why this idea is more than science fiction, we need to return to the first delusion we all live inside, the illusion created by our own brain. You think you see colors. You don't. You think you hear sound. You don't. You think you experience the world directly. You don't. Everything you experience is generated inside your mind. Reality is always delayed, reconstructed, and filtered. Your senses give you only a fraction of what exists, and even that fraction is edited before it reaches your awareness. You are already inside a simulation, a biological one. And once you accept that, the door opens to a far more disturbing possibility. If your inner world can be simulated, your outer world can be too. This is where the real fear begins. Because if you can't trust your senses, your memories, or your brain, what can you trust? What if everything you believe is real is just data being fed into your mind? Imagine a civilization advanced enough to create perfect simulations. They could generate entire universes, complete with physics, life, consciousness, and history. Now imagine that civilization discovering they themselves were inside a simulation created by another intelligence, and that intelligence discovering the same thing, and so on. A chain of realities, nested, stacked, each one believing it is the real one, each one unable to see the levels above. A matrix inside a matrix inside a matrix. But here is something even darker. If a simulation is built to study you, to test you, or to confine you, then the system would be designed to keep you unaware of its nature. Everything about your world would be structured to stop you from looking too far beyond the boundaries. Every limitation of your senses, every law of physics, every cognitive bias, every fear, every belief. All subtle restrictions, all guardrails to keep you in place. This is where your memories, your emotions, your sense of time, even your identity begin to feel suspiciously fragile, as if they can be edited or overwritten or reset. Perhaps they already have been. Because here is the real nightmare. What if the simulation adapts to you? What if the moment you question it, it adjusts the world to keep you contained? Maybe you felt that before. Moments where reality pushed back. Moments where thinking too deeply made you feel watched. Moments where something shifted around you as if the world was rearranging itself to stop you from seeing too much. Now follow this chain of thought carefully. If we are in a simulation inside another simulation, then the laws of physics might not be natural at all. They might be constraints, boundaries, system requirements, settings. The speed of light, the quantum rules, the structure of time, even the way your brain processes thoughts. But the most disturbing part is this. Every simulation eventually ends. When it does, what happens to the beings inside it? Do they wake up? Do they vanish? Do they continue on another level, or do they simply revert to their true identity, whatever that identity may be? If this is a simulation inside another simulation, then everything you fear, everything you hope for, everything you believe matters might just be part of the program. A story within a story. A dream inside a dream. And yet, your consciousness, this inner awareness that feels so real, might not belong to this world. It might be coming from somewhere else. Like a player entering a digital avatar. Which means the most real part of you might be the part you can't see. And that is where we will go in the next stage of this journey. If you're still here, subscribe now, because part 2 will take us to the upper layers, where the simulation collapses and the truth becomes impossible to ignore.